Right now, former President Barack Obama making a stop in Milwaukee 2 days out from Election Day. His message to Wisconsin voters.
We're in the home stretch of the presidential election. I'm Christian Benavides in Macon, Georgia, with what the final 2 days of the campaign season look like.
And there's a growing online community of people that enjoy watching trains. They're sometimes called train spotters. Our Kyle Pozorski introduces us to some of them. That's all coming up at 5:30. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. We are in the final days leading up to Election Day, and the presidential campaigns are not letting up. Wisconsin in the past week seeing a slew of visits, and that remains the same Sunday as former President Barack Obama making a stop in Milwaukee for the Harris-Walz campaign. Our Merrill Hubbard is there and joins us with the former president's message to Wisconsinites.
This is former President Barack Obama's second visit to the Badger State for this election cycle. This time it marks the final stretch before Election Day. In an effort to motivate more votes from Milwaukee locals, Mandela Barnes, Cavalier Johnson, Tony Evers, and Tammy Baldwin took the stage to hype up the Harris campaign. They recited slogans like "Going forward, not going back," and "Don't boo, vote." When Obama got up to the mic, he started by encouraging people to vote on Election Day if they haven't voted already. He spoke about Kamala's plans for the economy, health care, and women's rights. He also made an effort to highlight undecided voters.
The point is, for those of you who are still making up your minds out there, do not give Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt because he was on a reality show. And certainly do not give him credit for an economy that he inherited. There is only one candidate who has offered serious ideas about how to drive down prices and make this economy work for everybody, and that is Kamala Harris.
He went on to discuss character and preserving the moral values of Americans. If you are eligible to vote, you still can on Election Day until 8 p.m. Reporting in Milwaukee, Merrill Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Merrill, thank you. In a statement from WISC-GOP Chairman Brian Schimming on former President Obama's visit, he says no last-minute appearance by former President Obama can erase the devastating impact of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden on the livelihoods of Milwaukeeans. But the visits did not just stop there across Wisconsin. First Lady of Minnesota, Gwen Walz, stopping in Eau Claire this weekend. Walz serving as a surrogate for her husband, Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz, and his running mate, Vice President Kamala Harris. This is one of Walz's several visits to the Badger State thus far. And presidential candidate and now Trump surrogate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is in Rice Lake this weekend. Kennedy dropping out of the presidential race earlier in the cycle, now backing the Trump-Vance ticket. Kennedy in recent weeks making multiple stops in Wisconsin, just this weekend with stops in both Milwaukee and Rice Lake, encouraging voters to vote for former President Trump despite his name still being on the ballot.
Oh, if you still have to vote, my name is going to be on that ballot, but I do not want you to vote for me. I need you to vote for Donald Trump. Because that's the only way that I'm going to get to Washington, D.C.
The Supreme Court last Tuesday rejected an emergency appeal to remove Kennedy from the presidential ballot in Wisconsin. Vice President Kamala Harris is focusing on the battleground state of Michigan Sunday with just over a day to go before Election Day. CBS News correspondent Christian Benavides is in Macon, Georgia, where former President Donald Trump is speaking tonight.
In the closing hours of campaign 2024, Vice President Kamala Harris spoke at a church in Detroit Sunday.
These days will demand everything we've got, but when I think about the days ahead and the God we serve, we were born for such a time as this.
Later, the vice president addressed his supporters in East Lansing, Michigan. Former President Donald Trump rallied in North Carolina and Pennsylvania. There, he stoked controversy as he talked about the ballistic glass protecting him at the venue.
To get me, somebody would have to shoot through the fake news, and I don't mind that so much.
In a statement, a campaign spokesperson said, quote, "The president's statement about protective glass placement has nothing to do with the media being harmed or anything else." The former president railed against early and mail-in voting while claiming election fraud was already underway.
We should have one-day voting and paper ballots.
This evening, Trump speaks in Macon, Georgia.
Following this Georgia rally, the former president will focus on North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan tomorrow.
Keep Kamala and carry on, Allah.
And millions watched Vice President Kamala Harris in last night's opening segment on Saturday Night Live. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Macon, Georgia.
To more local news, the Sunbury Police Department is investigating reports of gunfire Saturday night. According to the department, officers responded to multiple calls from residents just after 7 p.m. Saturday of shots fired near the intersection of Ernest Avenue and Gerald Avenue. The officers found evidence consistent with gunfire. No injuries were reported, and there was no evidence of damage to nearby homes. The investigation into the incident is ongoing, and police are urging anyone with information to come forward. The Sunbury Police Department is particularly interested in speaking with residents who may have surveillance footage from the area or anyone who noticed anything unusual around the time of the incident. 2 people are dead and another injured in a 3-vehicle crash in the village of Windsor. According to the Dane County Sheriff's Office, Sunday the crash happened around 11:19 a.m. on US 51 just south of County Highway DM. 2 vehicles were traveling northbound on US 51 when a collision occurred. A 43-year-old man crashed into a second vehicle operated by a 23-year-old man, causing the second vehicle to veer into the southbound lane, which was then struck by a southbound vehicle driven by a 67-year-old man. The 43-year-old driver of the northbound vehicle was transported to a nearby hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The 23-year-old driver was pronounced dead at the scene, while the 23-year-old female passenger was later pronounced dead shortly after arriving to a hospital. And in Platteville, a 4-hour standoff ended with police taking a man into custody Saturday. This all took place at a residence on Southwest Lane. The Grant County Sheriff's Office says a 50-year-old man was reported to have, quote, armed himself with a rifle standing on a rooftop. After the roughly 4-hour standoff, pepper spray was used. The man was taken in for 2 outstanding domestic violence charges. Additional charges are pending. Now let's get a look at your certified most accurate forecast with the meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze.
Yes, it's pretty nice out here. You know, there was a little bit of rain, to say the least, this Sunday, but that has since dried out here, at least in the Madison area. We'll probably experience a little bit of drying out overnight into Monday, but more of that rain is expected to move in as we go Monday into Tuesday. We'll take a look at who's underneath that medium excessive rainfall outlook in just a moment. But we are still reporting some rain in some areas off into Juneau, Adams County, Green Lake, Marquette, Waushara counties, into Sauk City, into, I would say, western parts of Columbia County as well. We're beginning to dry out in eastern parts of Dodge County. And as I said, this is maybe the first dry period that we'll experience, but we could see some more as we head into your Monday. Already some folks have picked up over an inch of rain into the purple shaded areas, a lot of southwestern Wisconsin. That's at least a half an inch of rain, if not more. Rain is expected to continue to impact us kind of on and off throughout your Monday, but then really pick up as we head into your Tuesday morning. Across the southeast, that is where we do find a moderate threat for excessive rainfall. We're going to track out even more rain chances in the extended forecast.
All right, Blaze, we'll see you then. Coming up next on News 3 now at 5:30, it looks like soda, or at least as I call it, pop, is making a comeback. We show you the numbers. And tonight at 10, Consumer Reports shows us the best tools for you to keep your dog messes clean.
During COVID, Joan Balwick took $500,000 in federal loans she never paid back. Then voted to block assistance to help other Wisconsin businesses grow. Joan Balwick, out for herself, not you.
When did you know Eric Hovde was wrong for Wisconsin?
Well, that's easy. When he said that people like me were going to die soon, so we shouldn't be able to vote.
Almost nobody in a nursing home is in a point to vote.
When Hovde said overweight people should pay more for health care.
When I heard he wants to raise the retirement age.
When I heard he's completely against abortion.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
Now we know what's wrong with Eric Hovde. He's not for us.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
The problem with Todd Novak? He voted with his extreme party leaders 100% of the time, like voting against lower prescription prices. And Todd Novak authored the law to ban abortion in Wisconsin, with no exceptions for rape and incest. Todd Novak is with the extremists 100%, and he's hurting Wisconsin. Elizabeth Grabe will defend abortion rights, get more police funding, and bring down costs. Elizabeth Grabe for Assembly.
I, Kamala J.B. Harris, do solemnly swear.
Kamala swore an oath, but Kamala created crisis after crisis. Our troops murdered, an open border, crime in our streets, skyrocketing costs, assassination attempts, Americans abandoned during disasters, and we're on the brink of World War III. A broken oath and a broken America. Kamala can't be trusted in the Oval Office. Vote for President Trump and save America. Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
This is China, and this is Wisconsin. Joan Ballweg invested thousands of dollars in Chinese companies, but voted against using state funds to help grow companies here in Wisconsin. Joan Ballweg, out for herself, not you.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5:30, moving forward.
Thank you for staying with us. Soda is making a comeback after decades of decline. Both Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper reported last week they sold more cases of soda in the last quarter. And during the third quarter of this year, total soft drink volumes grew 1.3% from a year ago. The soda comeback follows 2 decades of decline over concerns about the health impacts of sugary drinks. Soda's comeback has also been bolstered by the rapid growth of sugarless sodas such as Coke Zero. And there's a growing online community of people that enjoy watching trains. They're sometimes called train spotters. It's based on a live streaming network of cameras across the country devoted to spotting passing trains. News 3 Now's Cons Pozorski examines the popularity of the hobby.
Just on a whim.
That's how Walt Javanus, a native of Portage, describes the moment he decided to create a Facebook page devoted solely to the photography of trains.
In today's world, there's so much AI and extreme Photoshop, and all the photos you see on my page are they're just real. They're just what I took.
Walt started posting his photos in 2017, at first only getting a few close friends and family to like and share his shots, but now people he doesn't even know follow along as well.
The fascination for me is putting pictures out there that people that don't even know me like. That's where I get a thrill out of it.
And it turns out he's not alone. Trains and photography are nothing new, both actually coming of age during the early 1800s. 200 years later, there's a growing community of folks getting into train spotting, taking the hobby to new heights online.
You know, it's a family-friendly place on the internet.
Mike Sear co-created Virtual Railfan more than a decade ago.
Some folks like to count cars. Other folks are interested in the horns. Some folks are just fascinated with large machinery.
He tells me his streams regularly get between 7 to 10 million views per month, filled with chat rooms of rail fans and some who really get into it.
There's a lot more than you think that have elaborate setups, you know, multiple monitors and things like that, where it's up at the house and, you know, they're working on one screen, but they're surrounded by 8 other screens that have 8 of our locations up across the country, and they're watching them all at the same time.
Back in Portage, Walt and I discussed what is perhaps the best reason for all of this.
You meet people.
Do people like that, do they kind of look at you like...
Sometimes.
Like you're ridiculous?
Sometimes. But then other people will be like, oh, well, I'm going to pull over and see it too, you know?
Yeah. It's about those human interactions and less about the trains sharing an experience.
You meet people from all over, and it's super cool.
Kyle, thank you. Now, if you want to do something similar, we have some tips to share with you. Of course, be safe and aware of where you are in relation to the railroad tracks. You should never go onto a track, and don't trespass, as it can lead to legal troubles. And maybe the best advice, if you want to do what Walt does, always have your camera ready, whether it be on your phone or a traditional one. And we return with another look of your First Warn forecast after the break with meteorologist Blaise Keller.
Score the lowest prices of the year right now at Brothers Main's Black Friday sale. You won't find lower prices anywhere, and enjoy our free delivery. Shop family-owned Brothers Main's low price guarantee on brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and Amana. Feel like family. Brothers Main.
You have a clear choice in this election.
Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
So let's get one thing straight. When Donald Trump talks about cutting Social Security and Medicare, it's like spitting in the face of America's seniors. We paid into these programs for our entire careers, and he would just cut them? Why? He wants to give another tax cut to the super rich, which they don't need. I know that Kamala Harris will protect our Social Security because she understands why it's so important for so many of us.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
The problem with Todd Novak? He voted with his extreme party leaders 100% of the time, like voting against lower prescription prices. And Todd Novak authored the law to ban abortion in Wisconsin, with no exceptions for rape and incest. Todd Novak is with the extremists 100%, and he's hurting Wisconsin. Elizabeth Grabe will defend abortion rights, get more police funding, and bring down costs. Elizabeth Grabe for Assembly.
Tammy Baldwin has our back. Tammy broke the law to make sure American projects are made with American iron and steel.
Thanks to Tammy Baldwin, my daughter's inhaler is now only $35 a month.
Tammy's Dairy Business Innovation Act has helped us hire more workers.
Tammy Baldwin's leading the charge to restore Roe v. Wade.
Tammy Baldwin fought like hell to save my retirement.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
To have someone in Washington that's got your back, oh man, that's gold.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Let's get a look at your First Warn forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze?
And we are going to continue to track these moderate to at times heavy rain showers over the next, I would say, 24 to maybe 36 hours. The rain activity is going to wrap up as we go throughout your election day on Tuesday. Could also get a few rumbles of thunder here, especially as we go into Monday. After climbing or settling into the low 50s earlier this evening, we're actually going to climb in temperatures all the way up to the upper 60s to low 70s throughout your Monday. So we just have that little bit more warmth in the atmosphere to maybe get a few non-severe thunderstorms. But Monday is going to be hit or miss shower activity. We're step future track through about 5:30 on your Monday afternoon. You can track out the showers using the First Warned Weather app and our interactive radar. But compared to what we'll most likely see overnight into your Tuesday, we're going to be seeing more hit and miss shower and thunderstorm activity on your Monday. Reminder, we do have a low to moderate excessive rainfall threat as we go into your Tuesday, with an additional, say, 2 to 3 inches possible further towards the south and east. Parts of Rock County, maybe Walworth County, Waukesha County, picking up maybe 2 to 3 inches of rainfall. Further to the north and west, though, that expected rainfall or additional rainfall over the next 24 to 36 hours is not going to be as high because the mechanics behind all of this is slowly being pushed off towards the east. And in doing so, it's taking that heavier rain eastward as well. So while the west got the heavy rain today and probably will start off that way tomorrow, as we go further into your Monday and then into Tuesday, southeastern Wisconsin gets a chance at more of that heavier rain. But we all continue to see the wetter than normal trends continue through at least the middle of November. This is looking through November 13th. A lot of green across not only Wisconsin and the Great Lakes, but the Midwest and the Northern Plains as well. And that continues even through about the 17th of November. So this is some good news as the ground is still not frozen yet. We still have a lot of ground to make up for in terms of combating the moderate drought conditions, which have now taken over 100% of Wisconsin. As I mentioned, we hit 54 low temperature earlier this evening, and from here on out, we're set to climb into those 60s by about midnight, if not sooner, and then further into those upper 60s to low 70s by the time we head into your afternoon hours on Monday. Then we start to cool on down as we head further into your Tuesday and into Wednesday. So it is going to be a bit breezy here over the next couple of days as well. We're kind of entering that point in the year, much like spring, where we have these dynamic air masses kind of contrasting over the Midwest at times. And that's when we get these kind of larger temperature swings as well as these breezy conditions. Upper 60s to low 70s for your Monday. For context, we should be in the low 50s. And for Election Day specifically, if you're going to be getting in line in the morning or into the afternoon hours, we are anticipating the rain, but you can, as I mentioned, track that out with our interactive radar on the First Warn Weather app. There is a look at your 7 and your 10-day forecast. More rain chances return as we head into next weekend.
All right, sounds good, Blaze. And still ahead in sports, Andrew is in studio with a breakdown of the Iowa and Badger game yesterday. Next on News 3 Now.
Rebecca Cook believes our parents and grandparents should be able to age with dignity. In Congress, she'll vote to strengthen Social Security and Medicare by repealing the tax on benefits, lowering the eligibility age for Medicare, and allowing Medicare to negotiate lower drug costs so our seniors get the prescription drugs they need at prices they can afford. Rebecca Cook, a homegrown Wisconsinite who fights for what's right. Project 218 is responsible for the content of this ad.
Todd Novak is a compassionate and independent voice for us in the Assembly, but Elizabeth Grobby will tell any lie she needs to get herself elected. Grobby's dishonesty about Todd Novak is shameful. The truth, Todd Novak passed legislation protecting exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother, and voted to expand access to birth control, not ban it. It's time to reject the desperate and ridiculous lies from Elizabeth Grobby and her radical allies. We deserve better. Todd Novak for Assembly.
I'm running for the Senate because I love our country, but sometimes I don't recognize it anymore. What is right has become wrong, and what is wrong has become right. Politicians like Tammy Baldwin have led us down the wrong path. It doesn't have to be this way. We can lower the cost of food and medicine, close our border, and stop the flow of deadly drugs. Let's work together to restore the American dream and give our children a brighter future. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message, and I'm asking for your vote.
Under Kamala, there's been a big hike in Medicare premiums. Social Security benefits don't go far with Kamala's inflation slamming seniors. Now Kamala wants struggling seniors to pay more Social Security taxes, while she gives Medicare and Social Security to illegals. That will doom Medicare. President Trump will make sure no one cuts Medicare or Social Security. Trump lowered Medicare premiums, and he'll end the tax on Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Chris Stanford, News 3 Now this morning, moving forward.
The Packers and Lions are in the fourth quarter of what had all the makings of a fantastic game. With Detroit in town, the Packers were in for a good one. Both teams 6-2 and both tied for first in the NFC North. The Lions came into Lambeau last year and dominated, and it's more of the same in 2024. The Lions outscored the Pack 17-0 in the second quarter, and that's basically the difference in this one. Not looking good, 24-6 Detroit at our last check. Wisconsin's loss to Iowa is painful no matter which way you slice or dice it. It's not just that it was the Badgers' third straight loss to Iowa, it's the way in which it went down. The Hawks dropped 42 points on Bucky, their most in this series since 1975. With the Badgers' bye week next, they'll have to sit with these feelings for a while. A feeling Luke Fickell said he's never felt, describing it as his own worst nightmare.
We knew their game plan. That's who Iowa is, and we knew they were going to try to run the ball, and we knew that we had to stop it, and we just didn't. Every game's a challenge, but we knew what the fight was going to be, and we just got dominated.
When you can't establish some version of a run game, and you can't stop the run game, I don't care what the hell else you do. You're not going to win on the road in this league, and you sure as hell ain't going to win here.
Last time out, Wisconsin volleyball was lost at the Fieldhouse for the first time since 2022 when Nebraska came into town and swept the Badgers. So you knew today, despite being on the road, the Badgers were going to go straight to it, full throttle. They won the first set, but trailing in the second, and like a conveyor belt, the Badgers set up the offense. Franklin to Furbringer, who puts it on a platter for Anna Smrek and the slam. Smrek finished with 13 kills. Tied with Franklin for a team high. And then later in the set, Furbringer puts it up for Carter Booth, who brings it down. Furbringer had a whopping 43 assists in this one, and the Badgers take it in straight sets. You know, Jalen, I was thinking about it, not this past weekend. This past weekend is what broke the streak. But prior to that, there was 3 consecutive weekends where both the Badgers and the Packers won on that weekend. And this would be the first time it's looking like we can say they both lost in a long time. Just an all-around tough weekend to watch for Wisconsin football fans.
Yeah, last year it seemed as if the Packers had figured out the Lions. They had that huge Thanksgiving Day W against them. So I was hoping this year would be more of the same, but, you know, the Lions are rolling right now. Hopefully we could see a little bit more fight in the second half.
Yeah, it just seems like somehow they've figured something out when they play at Lambeau. Maybe that changes in the postseason, or maybe even later in the year at Ford Field.
Hopefully by 10 o'clock we'll have some more good news.
Yeah, definitely.
Right,
hopefully.
Good. A final check of your first one forecast is coming up when we return.
Growing up here in southeast Wisconsin, hard work and getting things done are in Brian Stiles' DNA. It's why Stile is recognized as a problem solver in Congress. He's fighting for Wisconsin families every day, combating high prices at the grocery store and gas pump. And Brian Stile is protecting Social Security and Medicare because you've earned it. Brian Stile, getting it done for southeast Wisconsin. Fair Shake is responsible for the content of this ad.
I think we're probably spending too much, throwing too much money on our southern border.
Last month, fentanyl killed my childhood friend. Drugs and criminals are pouring into our communities because Tammy Baldwin voted to open our border and defund our police. I moved here from New York to protect my family, but Tammy's bringing her New York values to Wisconsin. Tammy Baldwin is dangerous.
I'm Eric Updy, and I approve this message. Join my team and give today.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no? There has to be some form of punishment. For the woman? Yeah.
And the punishment is real. Women denied care, unable to get pregnant again, traumatized, scarred for life. Young women who didn't need to die. Now 1 in 3 women live under a Trump abortion ban. And if he's elected, everyone will.
There has to be some form of punishment.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Wisconsin families still suffer from sky-high prices. Gas, groceries, housing. We pay more than ever, but that's not enough for radical Sarah Kieski. Kieski opposes putting a cap on property taxes, meaning higher taxes for us. The sky's the limit. We've hit our limit. We are getting crushed. Kieski's policies will hurt us even more. That's just wrong. Tell Sarah Kieski, Wisconsin can't afford higher taxes. We already pay enough.
So I've been waiting for it to feel more fall-like.
Yeah.
I've been really crossing my fingers, but now that it's a little bit cold, I'm like,
I'm out on it.
I don't know if I'm digging this right now. What do you think, Blaze?
I don't know anymore. You are so wishy-washy, and I try to bring you fall weather, and then you complain about it. We've already hit our most likely overnight low. We are set to climb into those upper 60s to low 70s on your Monday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms. You can track it out on our First Warn weather app. A better chance for more widespread, maybe all-day rain on Tuesday, but then we dry out to round out next week.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you back here at 10 o'clock.